towards another player has been reported. A reputation system, or an honor system if you prefer a uniquely positive version, would give players tangible consequences for their actions. Take Scotty X's example. If people are made accountable, or given the desire to be accountable and a good teammate through incentives, would that not motivate the vast majority of players to make the effort? Would the chance of losing out on the rewards make you think twice before you launched into a tirade at your teammates? For a lot of people, it probably would. For myself, I have no issue with just an honor system. What I really want is something more developed. I want a karma system like you find in the GeForce GTX. I want a persistent and accumulative peer review process. The reason for that is, anyone can have the red mist of toxicity descend upon them from time to time out of frustration. It's natural. Competitive environments are like that. We've all done it. However, the problem isn't people being toxic for just one game. It's people doing it repeatedly, and there's no way to know currently. Unless you check their record. Junkrat only, 100 hours, this guy's going to be the best teammate ever. I joke, but persistent systems like the Karma one from ESEA have actual punishments to go along with them. You're not punished for one moment of weak push, you're punished if accumulatively enough people give you negative reviews. Outside of mass manipulation is only the result of being a consistently bad team. Players can recover in this system too. It's not an Overwatch death sentence. If they improve their behaviour, they can come back from a negative or bad karma rating into a positive one. The punishments in these systems start off small, like not being able to play flashbang or other utility in CS, to not being able to queue for a period of time, and that interval gets bigger every time you drop below a certain threshold, to being outright banned in the worst of cases. There's another dynamic you could implement too, though it may impact queue time. If you are able to make the karma system part of the matchmaking, you could theoretically improve the quality of the matches. The idea is, the match is first by SR and then by karma, making sure players with the same reputation tier get
I deflected.
Now obviously that could make the wait times for a game longer, which is a valid argument against doing that for some people. But personally, I would much rather wait for a game with teammates I know are going to be cooperative than be thrown in with people with whom there's no guarantee they'll even be interested in playing properly. It's an interesting idea, if nothing else. What I suggest is actually a mixture of the two, an honor karma system if you will. You know how you get competitive points for wins which you can buy gold camos with at the end of the season? Well, what about a system whereby you get different tiers of rewards based on your karma rating at the end of the season as well? A loot box for tier 1, 1,000 credits for tier 2, and a gold skin of your choice for tier 3. Now I can see that working a treat. The idea is, we want more people to try and be better teammates in the long term. The karma system does that. When you add incentives in as well, that's the best of both worlds in my opinion. What's interesting is that the recent revision of League of Legends honor system has drawn criticism, but not for the reasons you might think. This article from PvP Live shows that people actually want more development for it, with additions like being able to positively review opponents being highly requested. There's also a call to be able to vote for more than one MVP a game. Sometimes there's more than one. I think a similar thing is perfectly possible for Overwatch, and if the goal is to try and improve the quality of the matches, it's something I'm totally in support of. Let me know in the comments if you like the ideas presented in this video. I'm sure you guys will have plenty to say. Peer review always tends to divide a crowd, so I'll be really interested to hear your feedback. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a rating. If you never want to miss one of our videos again, please click the bell icon next to the subscribe button on our channel to join the notification squad. You'll be
No, I thought that was you for some
please
reason.
follow the Your Overwatch.
It wasn't.
They're all over the
new
background.
videos and other cool stuff. I've been Agent Chump, and until next time.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry. Fucking. I was absorbing your I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Sure, you've been in the situation at the hero select screen, unsure exactly what to pick.
But why?
Multiple DPS locked, a single healer, and a torb. What do we do? Well, of course, we need some kind of tanking, but what a situation like this presents for us is a great example of how to utilize smart tanking that doesn't need pocket healing. That's a big misconception that I still hear in matchmaking nowadays, and it's something that is very outdated. Instead, what I want you guys to focus on is the term engagement. I don't hear the term engagements enough. If you see me in a game or in real life or anything, clean engagement is the word I want you to say. Good engagement, team engage, 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 engage. That's what it's all about. And the reason why that's so important is that if you engage properly and quickly and to the point and don't take with your face, but instead look for the proper way to set up the fight, you won't need pocket healing in order to maintain standing in front and taking damage. You see a lot of this across matchmaking where tanks especially think they have to be in front, be the ones taking the damage, and constantly be in a fight, brawling it out. And because of of that,
Nice
they
kill.
need tons of healing pumped into them, but because healing in the game in general has just been nerfed and nerfed and nerfed, what it exposed was that that playstyle was more of a crutch that you used to be able to get away with when Ana healing was incredibly good, but instead now you're going to have to find an engagement that is favorable for your team, and the best way to do that is to get yourself in a fight that you don't even need healing in, and I'm going to describe how to do that right now in a few examples. Well, first of all, we'll watch the start of this Anubis game. Playing as Winston here, my goal is not to be the first point of contact. That's what we have ranged characters
it
for.
shouldn't be
The
working
ranged
as well
damage
as it is,
here
to be honest with
actually is the initiation into the fight, because
Oh,
we're
yeah, I
able
know.
to use a sniper.
I mean, we're like
Hanzo picks
overextending
off their
constantly. At
Ana.
one point, they
Whether
got
he
like
that
3
pick or
picks and
not,
like
my
didn't
playthrough on the
even
Winston
contest.
would have been good to crowd control
We
him
wasted
out
his
of
Zen ult and
bubble
Lucio fell off the
into
edge, and there
open
were zero
street where he could get
repercussions.
focused, and there's a chance he wouldn't even have been in the line of sight of his Ana if she
Kinda
were
stopped
still
trying.
alive.
It's
But
kinda
through
a
this
joke,
fight,
like I
I
was sitting
only
back in the
take
very
40
back shooting
damage through the
arrows.
entire thing. And I do this by
Randomly.
avoiding the point of contact from any damage source as much as possible while still doing my job. I only have to jump in when the fight is
31%.
engaged, of course. When the enemy Winston's on my Hanzo, I gotta do something about that. But this, of course, shows the power, and I've said this in previous videos as well, of jumping
was
second.
bored.
Because I jump second, I'm able to boop him out of his bubble, and the
was
counter
bored.
initiation makes things easy peasy.
Whatever,
Now, if
you're
the
gonna look
opposite
at
was the case, and I was the first Winston to jump
Hey,
in while
okay.
their entire team is together,
Let that play the
whether
game.
Hanzo gets the pick or not,
Maybe.
they might be able to just focus fire me down, and if my Ana doesn't bail me out, I'd be dead.
YouTube isn't
Whereas
easy.
waiting with that little bit of patience to find the most opportune place to be in the fight means that healing doesn't even really come into it. We're able to divide and conquer, and I facilitate my ranged damage dealers. You have to give them time to be able to hit their shots, because if you don't and you just go in and die and engage, you're narrowing the window that they have to try to hit shots instead of facilitating it. Whereas opposed if you're playing with like a Reaper or a Genji, you might decide instead to just engage together quickly on the point of contact, but when you're setting up range damage characters, you kind of need them to have a little bit more time to find what they're doing, because their shots are a little bit harder to hit, a little more hit and miss. So this would go for playing with all sorts of ranged characters, Hanzo for one, but definitely a Pharah as well. Let that ranged damage do its work, not your face. I'm sure many of you are sitting there thinking like, let your ranged damage work, no DPS can hit a shot. Well, unfortunately, if you have DPS that's never going to hit a shot anyway, you're not going to face tank your way to victory regardless. If you play this way and you still lose, well, you're going to lose that game anyway. The only thing you can do is try your best to take the smartest engagements and play as sound as possible, whether it works or not. Now, Hero's enemy team is barreling up the sector again. There once it dives in deep,
All right, let's
partially
get
because they don't have a Lucio,
Let's get
even
back.
in
God damn it.
GM. This is the case, attacking without a Lucio.
I don't like
Big
this.
mistake. Their Ana is isolated far beyond the rest of their team. If I dived at the same time as when their Winston did,
I'm
I
going
would be
back to point.
facing into the entirety of the enemy
I am.
team
I'm
and
not
very
just
likely to
threatening
be
it, I'm
focused.
going.
But because I allow the play to develop, which is especially easy to do when they don't have a Lucio, because they're going to naturally be split because they have different movement
cover.
speeds and movement abilities. As the enemy Winston and Diva find targets that they want to fight, well, their Ana's
no
left
barrier.
isolated by herself in the back, and she's a free kill. Wipe out their healing source really early in the fight means that they're not going to be able to sustain, and it's pretty much rip. Now on this next push, my Torb's in danger, and since the entire enemy team is probably just going to turn the corner and smack him, I do tank with my face here, which is okay when you're doing it for somebody else. Then it's body blocking. When you're putting your body, which can absorb a bigger hit than your friendly squishy teammate, then you're body blocking for your teammate, and taking with your face in that case is a good thing. But you don't want to overstay your welcome in that fight, of course. They're all there.
Really,
They
really get
healed
back,
for
please.
my engage, which is smart by
You guys are
them,
causing me
because
so
if I
much agita,
overextend
you
into
don't
them
understand.
There, then I'm going to die for sure. But as soon as they do that, and I realize they're doing that, I back
Yeah,
up
but
and
enjoy that
dodge,
back.
our Torb is safe, and we go again. This is kind of how the footsie battle of these engagements work, is that they put their left foot in, I put my right foot out, they put their left foot out, and I back out too. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the hokey pokey meta. Next video, we'll talk about the chicken dance meta. By doing this and not overstaying our welcome, poking, finding the opening, letting the play develop, I'm able to do my job with minimal healing, find the opening, kill the Ana, and that's how this Anubis game became a full hold. The enemy team had the same engagement problem over and over again. The reason why I want to emphasize this in today's video is because far too often do I see tanks
Nope, ending
that
it now.
don't focus on engaging properly so that the fight commits
But
in
you'll miss some
a
awesome
favorable
stuff.
way so that pocket healing isn't required. Healing should be a thing that pushes you over the edge to win a fight, not sustain you in a bad fight. As we take control of the Mega Health Pack here on the outside of Anubis on attack, I don't just jump into the sim spam. I don't jump into the Reinhardt's face and start zapping him and expect to just get pocketed forever. Instead, we're able to isolate two squishies that are on the bridge uncomfortably close together, and I give them a group hug. And because my soldier's able to have a nice